going on, everybody? This is Javier with Not for Normies, and today we're actually going to be going over the Asus ROG Ally. And right now at Best Buy, you can buy the Asus ROG Ally Z1, not the Z1 Extreme. It's a little different as far as the specs go, but the Z1 actually has a price drop right now, and it is off $200. It is off $200. That's a humongous price drop from its original price point at $599. But is it worth getting the Asus ROG Ally, the Z1 edition, as opposed to getting something like the Steam Deck? Well, let's find out. So before I begin, I just want to say thank you all for all the people that have been watching the videos. Thank you so much. If you could do me a favor, do me a solid, hit that like button, share this with a friend, and if you like the content here, consider subscribing and share with a friend of yours, somebody who may be thinking about getting an Asus ROG Ally or some type of a Windows handheld gaming console, which is all the rage right now. And this is no different. So the Asus ROG Ally, you kind of already know the specs. If you already have an idea, I actually have one myself. It is right here. This is the Z1 Extreme processor. So there's not really a difference as opposed to like the difference between the Z1 and the Z1 Extreme. The only main difference is going to be the processor. I believe they also have, it might be a little bit different as far as, actually, there are no differences in terms of specs apart from the processor that's inside of it, which is good. It obviously has a humongous price drop on it just because the Z1 processor, computing power of it is just not as strong as the Z1 Extreme. And actually, if you want to, you can actually check out Retro Game Core's video on the difference between the Asus ROG Ally Z1 edition and the Z1 Extreme, and you can make the decision for yourself as far as which one you would rather go with, if it's a good fit for you. You know, it is still a lot of money regardless of the $200 price point. It is $400, so I mean that plus tax, you're looking at like maybe $430, $440. So I mean, it's a lot of money to get one of these, and you want to know that it's, you know, it's a solid purchase for you. So just to go over some of the things that's in it, the specifications for the Z1. The Z1 features 512 gigs of RAM, and obviously you can deck that out with a micro SD card, and you can actually swap out the hard drive from the Z1. I also think Retro Game Core does that on their channel too, just to show you how simple it is, and I think somebody else does it as well. I'll link it down in the description just so you can get a good glimpse of like how difficult it is to mod all this stuff yourself. You know, if you're looking at this stuff, I suspect that you have a good idea, a good grasp of how to do most of this, or are not really that afraid to do it. But you know, I'll leave it down, the links, I'll leave some videos down the link in the description box below, just so you can get a good grasp on it. It comes with the AMD Ryzen Z1 processor, 16 gigs of RAM, 7-inch touchscreen LED, 1080p resolution screen. So it's a great little console, honestly. I love mine. I actually use it primarily for Game Pass streaming, which is fantastic, honestly. It's I never really thought of using it as like something I would play Xbox games on, especially since I'm such a humongous advocate for PlayStation. And you know, just so you can have a good understanding, I do have like something else for PlayStation. I have my PlayStation Portal with me. I have a Switch. You know, I play all those different things. And I never thought of playing Xbox Game Pass on it, but actually for playing Xbox Game Pass and those types of games, it is really, really good. It is great. It's a great little handheld. Xbox, Microsoft, you really should hop on this train because you're losing money. I'm not gonna lie to you. You know, it's a great little, I wouldn't say it replaces a laptop, especially the Z1. I wouldn't consider a gaming laptop replacement, though I would say when you watch Retro Game Core's video on it, he does use that Z1 Extreme for a lot of different things because the computing power on it is really, really good. It's really good. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's really worthwhile. So, gaming performance. Now, the Z1 is a budget-friendly option. Budget-friendly. It's, you know, it's still $400. $400. I'm not gonna lie to you. It is a budget-friendly option, and if you look at the other things on the market, it is on par with that. I would consider it's on par with like some of the budget options Steam Deck holds, and some of the Ayaneo, the new one that's coming out, Ayaneo Next Lite. Now that is a budget option. Those are budget options because they have the AMD Ryzen 5 4500U that's gonna retail for like $299. Now that's going up against like prices for like the Nintendo Switch. You know, they're going after that market. Now if it's relatively better than a Nintendo Switch, you know, all for it. But I mean, you're also dealing with Nintendo that have like tons of different games in their library. You know, you're going up against a behemoth, so I wouldn't really call it comparable. But as far as like PC, like a handheld PC, that's probably as budget gets. Then it goes into like the Ryzen 5 4500U at $349, which is the Nintendo Switch OLED price, and then the AMD Ryzen 7 4800U. All of these carry 16 gigs of RAM, 512 gig SSD. Apart from, well, the Ryzen 5 and Ryzen 7, those two tier are at 512, and then the other one's at 128. But I digress. I would say it's a pretty budget-friendly option, and the gaming performance on it can run AAA games, but I would say not as smoothly as the Z1 Extreme processor. I would say that one, if you really want as much bang for your buck as possible, go with that one. That one's going to be the best in terms of performance game-wise. That's going to be the best performance you're going to get out of the ROG Ally. And you also have to remember that these processors, you know, it's like the firmware, the software, all of it's all being handled by Asus ROG. Like all of them, they're all handling all that stuff, and it's constantly being updated. It's always improving. I would say a lot of the games now perform a lot better than they did when I first got the Asus ROG, because, you know, I mean, I was also out of it for, I would say, a couple of months, and then I really was like, you know what, I'm gonna buy the Asus ROG Ally. I want it. And then my wife ended up getting it for me for my birthday, which was fantastic. It was a great gift. But if you really want the most out of your Asus ROG, go with the Z1 Extreme. But at a $200 price cut, it's really hard to beat that Z1. It's really tempting offer. I would say it's a very tempting offer, especially if you haven't gotten yourself a PC handheld and you're in the market to get one yourself. And now for a comparison to the Steam Deck. Now the article that I actually read, it's this one right here. It's by Lifehacker. This one, actually, it suggests, you know, at the reduced price, the Z1, that the Asus ROG Ally, the Z1 edition, might be a better option in comparison to the Steam Deck, the OG Steam Deck. I would consider that true. At that price point, at $399, you're also looking at, just from getting the Steam Deck OLED, because you're going up against the Steam Deck OLED, and you can watch videos online. You can also look at Retro Game Course videos on it too. He's made videos on it as well. At $399, you can get the LCD version, 256. You know, I would say that's they're all comparable. Like, they're very similar. Obviously, the ROG Ally is gonna be a little bit more compact, which is something I took into consideration. I didn't want to lug around the Steam Deck. It's kind of cumbersome as far as like putting it in your bag. I actually carry one of these around with me, one of these messenger bags. Sorry if it's kind of difficult to get in frame, but I carry one of these around when I'm going out. I'm going for my master's right now. I have that lugged around with me to go to the library, things like that, and it's I would only imagine that it's really cumbersome to carry something so big. Not like heavy, but like it's in the way. You have to get your kit, you have to have your case for it. It's kind of, it gets in the way. I can actually put this in my bag and be totally fine with it. So you have to take that into consideration. You also have to consider it's less in terms of like what you're getting as far as storage goes. 256 gigs. It's an LCD screen. I would say that the vibrancy on the 1080p display on the ROG Ally is super nice. And actually they allude to it, Retro Game Core alludes to it in his video, that the Steam Deck screen is a lot less in terms of like vibrancy, how good it looks, low light settings, all that other stuff. He talks about it in his video too. But I would definitely say that if you're gonna go with the Z1 or the Steam Deck, the original, not the OLED version, because if you look right here, it's gonna be a humongous price difference as far as like $399 to $549. That's a huge difference. The same thing with like getting the Asus ROG Ally the Z1 Extreme. Like you're going from like $399 to a humongous price increase of $699. That's a huge price jump. $699. At that price, you can get a $649 Steam Deck OLED at 1 terabyte, and there's something to be said about that. But when you're, especially now that Valve has done so much with the Steam Deck, now that price, it is really that's a great offer. That is a fantastic offer, especially 3 to 12 hours gameplay. You know, all those things fluctuate here and there, but how well do they run? I would say that I still think that the Asus ROG Ally still performs, as far as gameplay performance goes, better than the Steam Deck. But as far as the overall experience, I would say Valve has a little bit more of a polished experience, so more of a plug and play situation. There's less tinkering involved with the Steam Deck as opposed to the Asus ROG Ally, regardless of whether or not you're using the Z1 or the Z1 Extreme. So you take that as it may. So would you really consider getting the Asus ROG Ally, considering that there are other alternatives like the Steam Deck, and there are other alternatives that are coming down the pipeline like the Neo Next Lite? So would you consider it? So as far as a budget-friendly option, it is one of the more affordable options. It is the highest end version of the Steam Deck, the original one, the LCD version. So right now it caps out at that. So in terms of whether or not you're getting the Steam Deck and you can't afford the Steam Deck OLED, and you're going between ROG Ally or Steam Deck, I say go with the ROG Ally. That's my take on it. You know, you can do with your money as you will, but that is my take on it personally. But if you have more money to blow, go that. And this is for somebody who, if you care about performance, go with the Asus ROG Ally the Z1 Extreme. That is going to be the best bang for your buck, and it's worth it. It's 100% worth it. And me, who have played with it since last September, it is worth the money. It is worth it. But if you want something big and you don't mind it being, you know, like it's bigger, you get to play, if you have an extensive Steam Deck library, definitely go with the Steam Deck. It's worth it. Now, obviously none of us really know about the Neo Next Lite. We don't know how the specs are gonna be. Like everything's kind of laid out already, but we don't know how it's really going to perform in real life situations. So until that comes out, until other people are going to be able to get hands-on experience with it. I mean, if you're familiar with going into Windows, definitely go with the ROG Ally. It is a Windows experience, and especially since you could just plug it into your monitor and just, you know, use it like a computer, it's fantastic in that light. And then gaming requirements. Obviously, if you have the gaming needs, if you have gaming needs that require you to play, like if you are trying to play AAA games, you're gonna have to play them with the Z1. You're gonna have to play them at a lower resolution. You have to lower a couple things, your expectations, just because it doesn't have the power to play those games efficiently. Now, if you're really going to want to try and play them efficiently, you're going to have to, unfortunately, you know, suffer with in terms of battery life, and you know your battery is going to deplete tremendously. And I'm not gonna say that the ROG Ally in itself, the Z1 Extreme, is good on battery life, because if you're playing AAA games, you're going to drop that battery life substantially. No, if you're playing Hades, it's very different. You know, you're comparing apples to oranges at that point. You know, but you know, if you're playing AAA games, take that into consideration, that it's the Z1 Extreme may not be that sufficient enough to play those games at a solid frame rate, and you be considerably happy with your product, I would say go with the Z1 Extreme if you really want to play those AAA games on the go and play them really well. Though I would say that a lot of things have been optimized, so take that as it may. Take a gamble if you like. I mean, it's $399. It is a substantial amount of money. And then obviously you have the alternative options, and those things are constantly being updated as well. Valve is constantly updating the Steam Deck, and it's always doing a lot better. And INEO has, and all those smaller companies, they don't put out as many updates as these big companies. But a lot of these big companies are putting out these handhelds, and you should really take those into consideration as well. But you also have to remember that those bigger companies may be asking for a different price point, and they may not be able to bring that price down to a price that you are happy to pay. So here it is, the Asus ROG Ally. That price drop is substantial. I would say it's a great price at $399. It is a steal. It is a humongous steal. So let me know down in the comments, are you going to be picking up the Asus ROG Ally, the Z1 edition, the Z1 processor at this price point? Do you still think that the price point is too high? Do you think that at $299 that's a sweet spot? Do you even think that, because you're comparing at that price point, comparing that price point, you're looking at getting a Switch as opposed to getting a Asus ROG Ally. Now, I don't know if that's, I'm curious to know where people stand on that. Is it worth it to get that, to get the ROG Ally, to get a computer handheld, a PC handheld, or do you go with something else, or do you even wait till something else comes out on the market? Because right now, this market is booming, and I'm really curious to see what's coming down the pipe this year specifically, because it's going to be blowing up, and I think that's why the price dropped so significantly and why this price has been standing for so long. This price drop has been going on for at least a month now, and I don't think many people know about it, but and actually you could probably get a lower price on it open box right now. So if you're not set on that $399, I don't know what region you live in, but some of them, the open boxes go for $299. So keep your eye out for that. And let me know down in the comments, have you already picked one up? Is this a price point that you are happy with? Do you think the Z1 is not worth the money? Or would rather see a price drop on that Z1 Extreme and then go for that one instead? Or are you just gonna go with the Steam Deck instead? So let me know down in the comments. Everyone, thank you guys so much once again for watching my videos. Thank you so much for watching Not For Normies. Guys, have a wonderful day. Enjoy the week. Work hard. And don't forget, don't be a normie. Have a good one, guys. Peace.